Success does not come to those who wait. It does not come to those who hesitate, overthink, or wait for motivation to strike. It comes to those who force themselves to take action, whether they feel like it or not. The people who win in life are not the ones who are naturally motivated, naturally disciplined, or naturally confident. They are the ones who have trained themselves to move despite their emotions, despite their doubts, and despite their resistance. Most people struggle to take action, not because they lack ability, not because they lack resources, but because they allow hesitation to control them. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow. They convince themselves they need more time, more energy, more clarity. But winners do not wait for the right time. Winners do not negotiate with themselves. Winners force themselves to act because they understand that action creates motivation, not the other way around. The mind is designed to keep you comfortable. It is wired to avoid pain, uncertainty, and risk. And that is why most people fail. They allow their mind to dictate their behavior. But the truth is, you do not need motivation to take action. You do not need inspiration to get started. You do not need to feel ready. You just need to move. And once you do, everything changes. If you wait to feel ready, you will be waiting for the rest of your life. If you wait until fear is gone, you will never start. If you wait for motivation, you will always be controlled by your emotions. But if you learn how to force yourself into action, regardless of how you feel, you will become unstoppable. You will train yourself to act fast, to move decisively, and to create momentum before doubt has a chance to stop you. Every single person who has ever achieved anything great has had to force themselves to act. The first workout, the first business deal, the first cold call, the first speech, the first risk, they did not feel ready. They did not feel confident, but they moved anyway. And because they moved, they built confidence. Because they moved, they gained experience. Because they moved, they turned hesitation into momentum. If you want to take control of your life, you must take control of your actions. You must train yourself to break through hesitation, to overcome resistance, to act before your mind has a chance to talk you out of it. Because once you develop this skill, once you learn how to force yourself to take action, nothing will be out of reach. You will no longer be held back by doubt, fear, or laziness. You will be in control. And that is what we are going to break down. The practical step-by-step process to force yourself to take action, even when you do not feel like it. Because once you understand this, once you apply it, your life will never be the same. The first step to forcing yourself to take action is eliminating negotiation. Every day, people wake up and start bargaining with themselves. Should I get up now or sleep a little longer? Should I work on my goals or take the day off? Should I push forward or wait until I feel more ready? And that internal debate is exactly what kills momentum. Because every time you give yourself an option, you give yourself an excuse. Winners do not operate this way. They do not wake up and ask themselves if they should take action. They have already decided. They do not give their mind room to negotiate because they understand that the moment you start debating with yourself, the weaker side of your mind will always try to win. The side that wants to stay comfortable, stay safe, stay exactly where you are. If you want to take control of your actions, you must remove the debate. You must operate from a place of decision, not emotion. You must treat your commitments as non-negotiable. If you say you're going to wake up at 5 a.m., there is no debate. If you say you are going to the gym, there is no discussion. If you say you are working on your business today, there is no room for hesitation. It is already done. The problem is that most people let their feelings dictate their actions. If they do not feel like doing something, they hesitate. And the moment they hesitate, they start looking for reasons to delay. I'll do it later. I'll start tomorrow. I need more time. But winners do not wait until they feel like it. They take action regardless of how they feel, because they know that feelings are temporary, but results last forever. And here's the truth. Hesitation is the killer of dreams. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to move. The moment you allow your mind to second guess, you start slipping into inaction. That is why winners train themselves to act fast. They move before hesitation has a chance to creep in. They take action before doubt can stop them. Think about all the times you have wanted to do something but hesitated. Maybe you wanted to start a project, but you overthought it and never began. Maybe you wanted to speak up, but you waited too long and the moment passed. Maybe you wanted to take a risk, but your mind convinced you it was too soon, and now you regret not taking the chance. That is what hesitation does. It kills momentum before it even starts. The way to break this cycle is to remove the space between thought and action. The moment you decide to do something, move immediately. Do not give your mind time to talk you out of it. Do not wait for the right conditions. Do not analyze whether or not you feel ready. Just move. The faster you act, the easier it becomes to build momentum. And here's something most people never realize. Action creates motivation. Most people think they need to feel motivated before they take action. But it is the opposite. You must take action first, and motivation will follow. Because the moment you start moving, your mind starts to shift. The resistance fades, the excuses disappear, and suddenly you are in motion. Think about working out. The hardest part is not the workout itself. It is starting. The hardest part is not writing the book. It is sitting down to write the first sentence. The hardest part is not making the call. It is picking up the phone. Once you take that first step, everything else becomes easier. This is why successful people do not rely on motivation. They do not wait for inspiration. They train themselves to act first, knowing that momentum will take care of the rest. Because once you start moving, it is easier to keep going. If you want to force yourself to take action, you must build the habit of immediate execution. The moment you set a goal, take action toward it immediately. Even if it is small, even if it is just one step, because that one step will generate momentum. And once you have momentum, you become unstoppable. And here's a simple rule. Never leave the scene of a decision without taking action. If you decide to start a business, make the first call. If you decide to get in shape, do a set of push-ups. If you decide to wake up earlier, set your alarm and move it across the room. Take action immediately, because action is what turns an idea into reality. But here's the challenge. Most people will not do this. They will listen to this, agree with it, and then go back to their old patterns. Why? Because they are still giving themselves options. They are still negotiating with themselves. They are still waiting to feel like taking action instead of forcing themselves to take action. But winners do not wait. Winners do not hesitate. Winners decide and they move. And because of that, they achieve more in 1 year than most people do in a lifetime. So starting today, remove negotiation from your life. Do not ask yourself if you feel like it. Do not wait for the right time. Do not give yourself a choice. Because once taking action becomes non-negotiable, success becomes inevitable. The second step to forcing yourself to take action is shortening the gap between decision and movement. Every second you spend thinking, analyzing, or hesitating gives your mind more time to create doubt, fear, and excuses. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to act. This is why most people never follow through. They allow too much time to pass between making a decision and actually executing it. Winners understand that hesitation is the enemy. They know that every second of delay increases resistance. They know that once their mind starts questioning the decision, it becomes easier to rationalize doing nothing. This is why they train themselves to act immediately. They develop the habit of moving before their brain has a chance to stop them. Think about a rocket launching into space. The most energy is burned in the first few minutes, breaking through the resistance of Earth's gravity. But once it passes that barrier, momentum takes over. Action works the same way. The hardest part is not the work itself, it is overcoming the initial resistance. But once you start moving, things become easier. You build momentum, you create energy, and suddenly, taking action is no longer a struggle. Most people get stuck in overthinking. They analyze every possibility, waiting until they feel 100% ready before they move. But that moment never comes. There will always be a reason to wait. There will always be an uncertainty. There will always be fear. And if you let those things dictate your actions, you will never move forward. Winners do not wait for clarity before they act. They act first, and clarity follows. They do not wait until they know everything. They learn as they go. They do not wait until they feel confident. They build confidence through action. They understand that the only way to get better, to learn, to improve, to make progress, is to start before they feel ready. The solution is simple. The moment you decide to do something, count down from 5 and move. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. No debate, no hesitation, no second guessing, just immediate action. This simple technique trains your brain to override fear, to bypass resistance, and to move before doubt has a chance to stop you. And here's what happens when you start doing this. Your brain rewires itself. The more you act immediately, the more natural it becomes. Instead of waiting and hesitating, you develop the habit of moving fast, making quick decisions, and executing without delay. And that is the key to long-term success. Because here's the truth. Action is a skill. Just like any other skill, the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. And once taking action becomes a habit, once moving quickly becomes automatic, you start achieving things that most people will never experience, simply because you are willing to do what they are not. Most people get stuck because they think they need motivation before they act. But motivation is not reliable. Some days it will be there. Most days it won't. And if you rely on it, you will always be inconsistent. But if you develop the habit of forcing yourself into action, regardless of how you feel, you will never need motivation again. You will move because that is who you are. Think about the last time you hesitated before doing something important. Maybe you wanted to start a business, but you spent weeks researching instead of executing. Maybe you wanted to get in shape, but you kept telling yourself you would start Monday. Maybe you wanted to make a big decision, but you analyzed every possible outcome until the opportunity passed. That is what hesitation does. It robs you of progress. But the good news is that hesitation is a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. If you have spent years waiting, delaying, overthinking, you can start right now by training yourself to act immediately. The moment you decide something, move. The moment you feel resistance, push through it. The moment you start negotiating with yourself, end the debate and execute. And this is where most people fail. They think about change, they talk about change, but they never take immediate action to make it happen. Winners, on the other hand, do not think about whether they should move. They just do it. And because of that, they build the kind of momentum that leads to massive results. The fastest way to change your life is to change how quickly you take action. The shorter the gap between decision and movement, the faster you make progress. The faster you make progress, the more confidence you build. The more confidence you build, the more success you create. It is a chain reaction, but it all starts with that first move. And here's something most people never realize. Taking action consistently is more important than taking action perfectly. Most people wait because they are afraid of making mistakes. They want everything to be perfect before they start. But winners understand that progress beats perfection. They do not wait for the perfect plan. They take imperfect action and adjust along the way. This is why winners always seem to get ahead. They do not sit around thinking about what they should do. They act, they learn, they adjust, and they keep moving forward. And over time, those small actions compound into massive success. So if you are struggling to take action, if you find yourself hesitating, delaying, or overthinking, start training yourself right now. Start counting down from 5 and moving immediately. Start shortening the gap between thought and execution. Start acting before doubt can stop you. Because once you develop this skill, once you make immediate action a habit, nothing will ever be out of reach. The third step to forcing yourself to take action is removing emotion from the equation. Most people struggle to take action because they let their feelings dictate their decisions. If they feel tired, they skip the work. If they feel uninspired, they delay progress. If they feel uncomfortable, they stop altogether. But winners operate differently. They do not let emotions control their behavior. They do not wait until they feel like it. They move forward regardless of how they feel. Emotions are unreliable. They fluctuate from day to day, hour to hour, sometimes minute to minute. If you allow emotions to determine your level of action, you will be inconsistent. Some days you will take massive action. Other days you will do nothing at all. And that inconsistency is what keeps most people stuck. If you want to be successful, you must develop the ability to act independently of your feelings. You must train yourself to take action even when you do not want to, even when you are tired, even when you are not in the mood, even when it feels inconvenient. Because if you only move when it feels good, you will never build the kind of discipline required to achieve real success. Think about a professional athlete. Do you think they train only when they feel like it? Do you think they show up only on the days when they are fully motivated? Not a chance. They train every day, whether they feel like it or not, because they understand that discipline beats motivation every time. They do not wait for the right mood. They create the right mood through action. And this applies to everything in life. The most successful people in business do not wait until they feel like making a sales call. The best writers do not wait until they feel inspired to write. The best leaders do not wait until they are in the perfect mindset to lead. They show up and do the work no matter what. And that is why they win. The key to forcing yourself to take action is to separate emotion from execution. You must treat your commitments like a contract with yourself. If you told yourself you would work on your business today, then it is happening, no matter how you feel. If you told yourself you would wake up early, there's no discussion about whether you feel like it. If you told yourself you would take action today, then that action is happening. Period. Most people fail because they give themselves an emotional escape route. They say, I'll do it when I feel more motivated. But motivation is not a strategy. Motivation is not a plan. Motivation is a fleeting emotion that cannot be relied on. And if you base your success on something that is unreliable, you will never be consistent enough to win. Think about the most disciplined people in the world. Military leaders, Olympic athletes, high-level entrepreneurs. What do they all have in common? They do not negotiate with their emotions. They do not make decisions based on temporary feelings. They execute the plan regardless of how they feel. And because of that, they reach levels of success that most people never will. This is why successful people structure their lives around habits instead of emotions. They build systems that eliminate the need for motivation. They design routines that force action automatically. They create an environment where success is inevitable because action is the default setting. If you want to force yourself to take action, you must do the same. You must eliminate the decision-making process entirely. You must remove the option of negotiation. You must set up your life in a way where action is built into your routine, regardless of how you feel. And here's something important. Your feelings will catch up to your actions. Most people think they need to feel good before they take action, but the opposite is true. Taking action first is what creates the right feelings. When you push yourself to move, your mind starts to shift, your energy increases, your confidence builds, and suddenly you do feel like taking action. But that only happens after you start moving. Think about it like this. Have you ever forced yourself to start working out, even when you didn't want to? And then after a few minutes, you felt great. That is how action works. You must take the first step without waiting for the right feeling. And once you do, momentum takes over. And here's the real test. What do you do when you don't feel like doing anything? Because that is the difference between success and failure. Most people slow down when they feel tired, uninspired, or discouraged. Winners do the opposite. They push even harder. They use resistance as fuel. They train themselves to move forward, even when everything inside them is telling them to stop. And this is why winners always seem to be ahead. They do not have fewer bad days. They do not have more motivation. They do not feel great all the time. They just refuse to let their feelings dictate their actions. They move forward no matter what. So starting today, make this rule. Your emotions no longer control your actions. Your commitments are non-negotiable. Your goals are set in stone. And whether you feel like it or not, you will execute. Because once you separate action from emotion, once you train yourself to move first and let the feelings follow, you will become unstoppable. The fourth step to forcing yourself to take action is creating pressure and accountability. Most people fail to take consistent action because they have no real consequences for inaction. They tell themselves they will do something, but when they don't follow through, nothing happens. There is no cost, no penalty, no external force pushing them forward. And because of that, they allow themselves to procrastinate, to delay, to fall back into old patterns. Winners operate differently. They do not rely on willpower alone to take action. They do not expect themselves to be motivated all the time. Instead, they create an environment where taking action is the only option. They structure their life in a way that forces them to follow through. They build accountability systems that make failure painful. So painful that taking action becomes the easier choice. Think about a deadline. When you have a project due tomorrow, what happens? You get it done, no matter what. You stop making excuses, you stop procrastinating, you stop overthinking, and you execute. Why? Because there is pressure, there is a consequence for inaction. And when the consequence is real, you move. This is why accountability is so powerful. When you know someone is watching, when you know there is a cost to failing, when you know there is something at stake, your mind shifts. You stop waiting until you feel like it. You stop giving yourself the option to quit. You force yourself to take action because you have no other choice. And this is how winners set themselves apart. They do not hope, they will follow through. They set up systems that guarantee they will. They create public commitments. They surround themselves with people who will call them out. They put themselves in situations where action is required. And because of that, they never allow themselves to fall into the trap of hesitation. If you want to take action consistently, you must build external pressure into your life. You must create stakes so high that failing to act is not an option. You must make sure that inaction is more painful than action. Because when the cost of doing nothing is greater than the cost of taking action, you will always move forward. So how do you do this? You build accountability into your life. You tell people about your goals. You make commitments publicly. You set deadlines that are real, with real consequences for missing them. You put yourself in environments where you are forced to level up. You create rewards for progress and penalties for failure. You take action off the list of things you should do and make it a requirement. And here's the truth. Most people never do this because they want an easy way out. They want to take action when it's convenient. They want to move forward without pressure. But that's not how success works. The people who win are the ones who create an environment where winning is the only option. Think about elite athletes. They do not just train when they feel like it. They have coaches holding them accountable. They have teammates relying on them. They have competitions where they are forced to perform. They are in an environment where excuses do not exist. And because of that, they perform at a level most people never reach. Now think about your own life. Who is holding you accountable? Who is pushing you to take action? Who is making sure you follow through? If the answer is no one, then it is time to change that. Because if you are the only one responsible for your progress, you will always find ways to let yourself off the hook. But when someone else is expecting results, when there is pressure to deliver, when there is a real consequence for failing, you will take action. And here's something powerful. Find a way to put money on the line. Nothing creates urgency like having something to lose. Pay for a coach, invest in a course, place a bet with a friend, set a financial penalty for failing to follow through. Because when money is at stake, you will move. You will take action faster. You will eliminate excuses, and you will build the habit of following through no matter what. This is why successful people never hesitate to invest in themselves. They know that when they have skin in the game, their level of commitment increases. They know that when they have something to lose, they take action faster. They know that without pressure, there is no urgency. And without urgency, there is no progress. And this is the mindset shift. If you are not creating accountability, you are creating excuses. If you are not building pressure, you are building hesitation. If you are not setting up consequences, you are giving yourself permission to fail. And if you continue doing that, you will always struggle to take consistent action. So starting today, create real pressure in your life. Announce your goals publicly. Tell someone you trust to hold you accountable. Set deadlines that are non-negotiable. Put money on the line. Make inaction so painful that moving forward is the only option. Because when you do that, hesitation disappears, resistance fades, and action becomes automatic. The fifth and final step to forcing yourself to take action is becoming the type of person who always follows through. Most people fail to take action not because they lack the ability, but because they do not see themselves as the kind of person who takes consistent action. Their identity is still tied to procrastination, hesitation, and inconsistency. And because of that, their actions reflect their beliefs. If you believe you are someone who struggles to take action, you will continue to hesitate. If you believe you are someone who is lazy, you will continue to avoid work. If you believe you are someone who always gives up, you will continue to quit. Because your identity controls your behavior, and until you change your self-image, you will always fall back into the same patterns. Winners operate differently. They do not hope they will take action. They do not wish for more discipline. They become the kind of person who takes action every single time. They build the identity of someone who executes. They train their mind to see themselves as someone who moves forward, no matter what. And because they believe they are that person, their actions automatically follow. This is the secret. If you want to take action consistently, you must change how you see yourself. You must stop thinking of yourself as someone who struggles to follow through. You must stop identifying as someone who procrastinates. You must start seeing yourself as someone who moves, who executes, who follows through every time without exception. And the way to do this is simple. Every time you take action, reinforce the belief that you are an action taker. Every time you push yourself forward, remind yourself, I am the type of person who always follows through. Every time you break through hesitation, say to yourself, I take action no matter what. Because the more you repeat it, the more your brain will start to believe it. And once you believe it, action becomes automatic. Most people think their actions shape their identity, but the opposite is true. Your identity shapes your actions. If you want to force yourself to take action, you must first become the kind of person who takes action. You must reprogram your mind to see yourself as someone who is disciplined, consistent, and relentless in execution. And here's how you do it. Start small and stack the wins. You do not have to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to start proving to yourself, one action at a time, that you are an action taker. Wake up when you said you would. Follow through on the commitments you made to yourself. Do the work, even when no one is watching. Because every time you do, you are reinforcing the belief that you are the type of person who executes. This is why small wins matter. Most people think success is built through big dramatic actions. But the truth is, success is built one small decision at a time. It is built by showing up every day, even when you do not feel like it. It is built by proving to yourself over and over that you always follow through. And once you do that, taking action is no longer a struggle. It becomes who you are. Think about the most disciplined people in the world. Do you think they have to force themselves to take action every day? Not at all. It is not even a question. It is automatic. It is who they are. And that is why they succeed. Because when something becomes part of your identity, you no longer have to think about it. You just do it. So ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to take consistent action? What kind of habits does that person have? What kind of mindset? What kind of discipline? Because once you identify the version of you that takes action without hesitation, all you have to do is step into that version of yourself. And here's the truth. You are always reinforcing an identity, whether you realize it or not. Every time you hesitate, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who hesitates. Every time you procrastinate, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who delays. Every time you quit, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who gives up. But the opposite is also true. Every time you take action, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who moves forward. Every time you push past resistance, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who gets things done. Every time you show up, even when it is hard, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who does not make excuses. And over time, those small actions reprogram your mind until taking action is no longer something you struggle with. It is just who you are. And this is why winners never struggle with motivation. It is not because they have more willpower. It is not because they have an easier path. It is because they have built the habit of action. They have trained themselves to always move forward. And because of that, they achieve more in 1 year than most people do in a lifetime. So starting today, make a decision. No more identifying as someone who hesitates. No more believing you are someone who struggles to take action. No more reinforcing a weak mindset. From this moment forward, you are someone who executes. You are someone who moves forward no matter what. You are someone who always follows through. And once you make that shift, once you build that identity, you become more powerful than most people dream of. Forcing yourself to take action is not about willpower. It is not about waiting for motivation. It is not about hoping that one day you will finally feel ready. It is about building the discipline, the mindset, and the identity of someone who takes action no matter what. Most people struggle to take action because they allow hesitation, emotion, and excuses to dictate their behavior. But winners override hesitation with immediate movement. They separate emotion from execution. They build accountability that makes quitting impossible. And most importantly, they become the kind of person who always follows through. If you want to change your life, if you want to move from inaction to unstoppable execution, it starts today. No more waiting, no more overthinking, no more telling yourself that you will start tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. The only time you have is now. And the only way to change your future is to take action in the present. The question is not whether or not you know what to do. You already know what to do. The question is, will you do it? Will you move forward despite hesitation? Will you push through when it gets uncomfortable? Will you train yourself to act without waiting for the perfect moment? Because if you do, you will be unstoppable. So from this moment forward, make a decision. No more waiting, no more hesitation, no more excuses. From now on, you are someone who executes. You are someone who moves forward no matter what. You are someone who forces yourself to take action every single time. Because once you make that decision, once you commit to it, once you fully embrace the identity of an action taker, there's nothing in this world that can stop you.